Hello, everybody. I'm Sarah, and we have here with us Tim Fielder, author, graphic novelist, illustrator, extraordinaire, Afrofuturist, all the things. Tell us about, what should we start with?
Well, I'm here today to talk about my book, Infinitum.
Infinitum, guys.
Yeah,
Awesome
Infinitum.
graphic novel.
Yes, Infinitum,
Awesome.
an Afrofuturist tale.
Yeah.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you, Sarah, for inviting me. We go back. Sarah knows all of the crazy stuff that goes on, like all of it that goes on behind the scenes. And thank you to the library for letting me talk to you guys today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. So Infinitum has been a journey. I guess where should we? I want to like tell our viewers about the journey that led to Infinitum. Like,
Right.
You've been
So
illustrating forever.
yeah,
That.
yeah. The interesting thing is you're part of that story. Now, just for you guys that don't know, so Sarah and Andre Peltier are kind of like the geek couple in Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area, and their thing is they're these comics folks. There's weird kind of comics folks there, and they were crazy enough to put me up for about 5 days, 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how many
It
days.
was
It was a
like
few.
that, yeah. So their kid now, who's almost 4 years old, which is insane,
Yeah.
was like just like
He was like one.
he wasn't even one yet.
Was he one? Not even one. I
He
don't
was
even
a
remember.
baby. He was a baby. And at that time, you guys were so gracious in letting me travel with the book I had at the time, which was this thing, Matty's Rocket.
Matty's Rocket. Woo,
That's
woo.
right. So at that time, you guys were the last stop I made. So I did that. I had very few books left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I went home after that, I had a moment where I had to decide, okay, what is this going to be? Am I going to continue doing the indie, get on the bus, ride, be in the weird bus
because
station?
we should tell everyone Matty's Rocket is like entirely your own. I mean, you did the entire thing yourself.
Yes, I went crazy and I printed the copies in
I
my studio.
I love that part of the story.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, you guys were there literally at the beginning. It was like, in the not glamorous part of it.
Yeah.
So I went through that experience, and there's a part of it that I absolutely love because you're hustling for your work.
Yeah.
And I love doing that, and I love interfacing with audiences. I remember we went to Nicholas Books, and I drew portraits and showed my work, similar to what I'm doing now, which is doing it virtually now.
Yeah.
And I had such a good time doing that. But when I got back to New York City, which is where I'm at now, I was telling my wife, well, just the way I work, I do the indie thing, and I can do this. And I was like, okay, I had a choice to make. I could either continue to self-publish, printing books in my studio, which I figured out how to do.
Right. I mean, you had like a printing press in your studio.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. I mean, I know that was like probably less than ideal in terms of your workload. However, like, what an amazing thing.
I did it. I learned so much. The only thing I could not figure out was the binding process. This was the first book I tried to bind. You can see here, the binding is absolutely horrible. So I had to take it because I got a cheap binder off of eBay. You can't eBay your way through these things. But so eventually I ended up taking it out to a nice company, Aquit Binderies in Long Island, and they did a wonderful job in binding those books. But anyway, I did that, and I said, I would never get a book deal. That'll never happen to me. No. And my wife said, well, how do you know that? Well, what do you mean? How do I know? I know what I know because blah, blah. Then, you go through your thing, you start running through your logic equations, and you realize you don't know what you're talking about. So I realized, well, I hadn't really tried. And this was in 2018 when that happened.
Okay.
And, so next thing you know, I ended up making a decision to actively work on Infinitum next. And that was summertime. Well, it came to you guys in March.
Yeah. And I remember there was like the slightest little whisper, like infinitum, something's gonna happen.
And I was swearing you guys to secrecy. I was like, if you tell anybody, I'm gonna die. You can't do it. Be quiet.
I know. We kept our secret.
But you can't tell anybody. You got shh. Because I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I've been in the comic book industry for decades, but I wasn't successful. I was just in it. I was like a regular worker, and I wasn't doing a lot of work. I got out for 12 years because the industry dried up. But here I was back.
But this was when you were at Marvel for a little while, right?
I was a freelancer for Marvel. Back in the 90s. But Marvel declared bankruptcy. Most people don't know that. So I was in animation for years, did the same thing you and your guy are doing. I raised kids, they eat. They had this issue. I've been talking to them about that. Stop eating, but they keep eating, But now my guys are grown now. My youngest, who's in the other room over there, he's 20. So
it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
This was black at one point. I had I had dreadlocks back down to my butt, but now, no. So, but don't worry, you won't end up like me. And
I'm working on the gray. I've got
but no, I'm not talking about the gray. I'm talking about the hair.
Oh,
just for you guys who know, this lady's husband has George Lucas hair. His hair is like coiffed perpetually. Yes, George Lucas, his hair is like coiffed perpetually. It's amazing. Anyway. Obviously I'm jealous of his hair.
I would kill for his hair. I wouldn't.
His hair is amazing.
I'm not gonna kill, but Andre does have nice hair.
He could be a hair model. His hair is so amazing.
He's got great
like in hair commercials. He could just whip it and do whatever he needs to do. Totally. Anyway, I know the audience is like, tangent. They talk about hair in the book. So it started happening. I did this a career retrospective gallery show. I'd done it before in 2016 at NYU Gallatin Galleries, but then this year, in the fall, Hammonds House Museum in Atlanta, Georgia, part of the Fulton County Arts thing, did the show for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And at the end, right at the end, Harper Collins and myself and my rep entered into conversations, and it was like, oh Lord, because that wasn't my experience. My experience was nobody wants to publish that, black characters and spaceships thing, so you have to do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that was the end of November. And by December, by January, we received our first formal contract where we were negotiating, and it would go on for several more months, but I was full-time on Infinitum by December of 2018. And I worked like an animal.
Yeah, well, and you had to, because so can I just show our viewers?
Sure, please.
This thing is every page is fully rendered. I don't know how to hold this on camera.
And isn't that amazing when something is an idea?
Amazing. The whole thing.
Right. You can kill somebody with that book. It's so thick. Isn't that amazing? That's when you know it's real.
Big, yeah.
It's wow.
Great. Well, I remember when I opened it the first time, I was like, oh my God, the cover looks great. This is going to be awesome. And so here's the thing. I'm always going to Vault of Midnight with Andre because, comics, right? That's our local comic. Were you there when you visited? Did you go to Vault? Anyway.
I was supposed to, but didn't COVID disrupt that?
I don't know. Anyway.
All right, we'll figure that
I
out.
don't remember.
This guy,
But
these people they obviously know each other.
Yeah, I'm getting myself distracted. My point was when I got the book and I like opened it for the first time, it was like, so it's, you know, oftentimes comic books will have, and sometimes graphic novels, you know, the cover is like this fully rendered amazing thing.
Right.
You open it up and like the inside illustrations are not the same level of rendering, you know, they're not as painterly or whatever, which like, fine, sure. Because that's like a lot of work. And sometimes just the aesthetic is different on the cover than on the inside. But like I opened Infinitum up and I was like, oh my God, the whole thing is like this. This is the best.
So the reaction you just gave, that was intentional.
Yeah.
Meaning great. I knew I had to, and thank you so much for asking these questions. It's important because it means that for me that people are paying attention to what I intended. Yeah. And the intention was I wanted to do an epic, a big science fiction epic like Stars My Destination, like Star Wars, Black Panther, all those things with these characters of color. But I knew, well, I mean, I could have done it in black and white.
Yeah.
I could have done it like watercolor, which is beautiful, all beautiful mediums. I mean, I did it totally digital. I could have done that, but I knew what I couldn't do. At that time, I could not do 9 panels a page. That wasn't what I could do. Right. So I made the calculation based upon, you know, because let's be frank, and I'll get to this back to it in a moment. Let's be frank. We're talking about the trade industry. We're talking about books. We're not talking about comics.
Right.
And that's a very different animal. I knew in my mind that there was a different, but it's when you get in there, it's the thing you deal with every day. I understand it now. That's why people are like, why are you constantly doing class visits with colleges and libraries? I'm like, because that's my crew. Those are the people who buy my books.
Thank you.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, really? I'm like, yes. Every last one of those folks, no, they're all wired. They love books. 1, 2, they talk to each other. They talk to each other all the time. And 3, they recommend what books they're gonna buy. And 4th, they actually buy the books for themselves. So you have to know, you guys are both the buyers and the sellers of my books. So I have a ethical obligation really to talk to libraries. That's just, you know, you don't think about it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I need to shave. You need a razor to shave. You know what I mean? You could try it with a butcher knife, but it's probably easier and better with a razor. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're designed to do. So that's why schools, libraries. That's what it is. Anyone else who comes in, great, but schools and libraries, you guys are like the first line of defense. That's what you are. Sure. Now, back to my original point.
I mean, I like it. Libraries are the razors, not the butcher knives of.
Yeah, you guys are you're the essential workers.
We're the high quality tool.
No, you're the essential workers of our field.
Of our field.
Most people don't realize for trade authors, particularly ones who have book deals, the vast majority of their book sales come through libraries. Significant.
We are a pretty big chunk of, I mean, we're definitely not all of it, you know? But we're not nothing either. Like,
well,
you take all the libraries in the US and combine like how much we buy. We do buy a lot.
Your libraries and school libraries, those are the sales that you can count on. You don't have to, all you got to do is do a good book and not be a bonehead. And librarians will probably buy your book. They'll buy 1 copy. But they're like, I think I did research on it. Aren't there like 20,000 or 30,000 libraries in the country?
Yeah, I don't remember the number, but it's a lot. There are thousands and thousands.
Tens of thousands. It's not like 1,000. It's like 30,000.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's what it is. It's why, you know, I have a friend, Jerry Kraft, who does New Kid. he's
Yeah.
constantly, you know, talking to libraries because that's what you guys do. You know, it's not like y'all doing me a favor by talking with me, you know, not the other way around. You know what I mean? I just try to, well, you know, do you mind if I draw a picture of you so you guys will have a little fun, you know? But at the end of the day, you're all of your audience, all of your colleagues, all of the administrators, all of the people in the Michigan library system are eventually going to watch this video. And they're going to know, okay, was Tim a bonehead? 2, he can't be a total bonehead because Sarah let him come on. And 3, wow, that book does look pretty good. Let's give it a shot. And that's how it works. That's how it works, you know? So anyway, enough about the Bible. I don't want y'all to get too big of a head.
No, let's not do that.
Let's not do that. But yeah, so the deal happened. I went to painting the book because I felt like, how are you going to ask someone to spend $25, almost $30? And it's like, hey, I'm like, no, I want you to open that book and feel some level like the person who did this book gave blood. I don't even talk about the story. I'm talking about the visuals.
Yeah, for sure.
I want you to see the level of effort. And you know, Sarah, I used to run away from that for a long time.
Really?
Like I've always been a fully rendered, painted artist. My best work is that. I mean, I would love to be able to ink like Terry Austin, or, you know, who's used to ink the X-Men back in the day. But, you know, I'm like from the heavy metal magazine world where it's fully rendered work. The spaceships have glints of light on it. You can see the seams where everything come together, because that's the world I grew up in. I grew up in a concept design world. Ralph McQuarrie. In fact, this will be something that you'll like here. Yeah, I know you'll dig this. So I bought this book called Archives.
Oh,
right? And it's, check this out. Check this out. It's so heavy.
It looks heavy.
It's got this, it's the work of Ralph McQuarrie, who did all of the Star Wars stuff, but it's this huge book.
Whoa.
Yeah, I could just say it's kind of heavy, so I got to put it down. But
that's the ultimate workout in like story time holding of the book.
So I wanted to, all right, let me put this down here for a second. It's a little bit unwieldy here, but I love the mass of books, you know? So that's what I wanted this to be.
Yeah.
I wanted you guys to feel like that you have something substantial, a piece of art.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So yes, this segues nicely because like, not only is it a substantial piece of art, I mean, the illustrations are gorgeous on every page.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Really, for
real. That means a lot coming from you. I appreciate it.
It is a work of art. The other thing though about it, and you already touched on this, like it really is a story of like epic proportions. I mean, you start page 1 with like the beginning of the universe.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way to the end.
Right. Yeah, you know? it is that. I'll explain why I did that.
Okay, do it.
You know, Isaac Asimov, well, you got the 3 pillars of science fiction. Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke, and the other pillar that I consider is Samuel R. Delany, right? For me.
Sure.
And those guys wrote big stories. Ursula K. Le Guin. There's a number of pillars, but you know, those are the authors who, you know, they defined science fiction during the 20th century as it came into its maturity. You know, Jules Verne, obviously, but I wanted to try, not saying that I could succeed. I wanted to try to do something like that. But I knew it's both an advantage and a disadvantage. I knew on the one hand I was going to have visuals, right? And the one thing you don't want to do is to do great visuals and the story sucks. You don't want that. Yeah. I mean, you can sell some books that way, but that's bad. That's bad. So I knew I had to really think about the story and to do a complex narrative, because this book is not for young kids. So please, folks, do not buy this book for, hey, I have a 4-year-old that has just learned to read. No, this is not that book.
No, it's not. This is
This
like
book,
mature teens and adults.
it is for YA and old grown folks. That's what this book is for. And it is, if you're into Hunger Games, Raiders of the Lost Ark, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Star Wars, the first Matrix, that's what this book is.
Yeah.
And
it has moments that are, I mean, it's dark.
Yeah.
There's deep, dark stuff in this. This. So if you're not in for deep, dark, you know, and yet really valuable content, then like, you know, I don't know.
Thank you so much. I'll give people a breakdown of the story. So Infinitum, an Afrofuturist tale, involves a ancient African warlord named Aja Oba. And Oba rules his kingdom with these huge dogs that he rides on like horses. They look like Rottweilers. Mm-hmm. And he, along with his wife, they're very powerful, but they can't have children. So they both concoct this plan to get a child from one of Oba's other lovers. And it backfires horrifically, where Oba ends up being cursed with the gift of immortality.
Yep.
And he is forced through this curse to watch all those he loves, every scenario, world, civilization that comes up, all wither to dust over the course of thousands and thousands and millions of years.
Yeah, I mean, the entire course of human history.
Yeah, and look, there's some beautiful upbeat parts in Infinitum.
Yeah. There are. I mean, we're selling it like, oh my God, like it's the time of COVID. I don't want to, but it's really worth the time. I mean, it's a beautiful story, and like it has this element throughout of like mythology. Like you really feel like you're reading an origin story.
Thank you. This is what I tell folks. Take a little bit of Cecil B. DeMille's Moses. Take the Matrix. Take a whole heaping of Forrest Gump, right?
Got to have your Forrest Gump.
You got to have your Forrest Gump, and then put Black Panther in there. That's Infinitum. Yeah. It is all of the different epic magnitude of history, sweeping scale of history. Hannibal and his elephants, the Roman Empire, the American Civil Rights Movement, interstellar travel, colonization, love, romance, all of that is in there. It's an epic story where I wanted to do something big. I'm an African-American male, and I wanted to do something in a way where, I mean, we have this in prose literature. We certainly have that, you know, Delaney, Butler, N.K. Jemisin, we have that. But when you start putting the visuals together with that, that's much more complex. That's much more complex. And, you know, I have done this since I was 12 years old. I'm now 54. I thank the planet Earth for finally catching up. It's cool to do it. Now I can wear my sweater with, you know, my superpower shirt underneath and, you know, my bracelet, you know, my secret bracelet that my wife gave me. I'm good. And it is such a wonderful, wonderful, because you saw me when I was at pretty low. I wasn't low, but I was like, it was really, what do they call it? A scrappy? Is that the word? You saw me when I was scrappy, but now things have changed. I'm not going to even lie to you. Things have changed. The world, it's fusing towards the concept of Afrofuturism. Heck, 2 days ago, there was a show on ABC called Soul of a Nation where they were talking about Afrofuturism.
Right.
I was in a Microsoft commercial, 3 weeks ago,
A
on
Microsoft commercial.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I'm not complaining.
No,
I
no.
love it. Thank you so much. I want to do more Microsoft commercials, right? But it's just, it's changed my life because the world has changed.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, oh God, there's so much in here. I mean, so speaking about like taking this like Afrofuturist story, big proportions, but also doing it in a way that's it's visual. It's a visual story too. It's not just prose.
Right.
And you were saying like that's complex. And I also want to add to that, like one of the things that I was thinking about as I was reading it was despite like the huge like proportion of the story, like the big scale of the story and the deep dark stuff that's tough, like the so much of it you get like you have the emotions. There's hope and love and devastation and despair, but because you're also looking at it, you're not just reading those words. It's powerful, but also like really digestible. It's not like it's a tough read. Like you're not slogging through it like, oh my God, this is torture.
You're good. You're very good. You're very good. All right. So, you know, she's exposing all my secrets, ladies and gentlemen. This is not fair. I'm at a disadvantage here. So, all right. So let me tell you the way it works. A graphic novel is not a novel. It's a graphic novel. It is about the interplay, the dance between words, which are typically used in prose, and pictures, right? Now, Infinitum is not a typical graphic novel. It doesn't have 9 panels a page, 5 panels a page. It has 1 illustration per page. Like Matty's Rocket, the book we were talking about earlier, has, you know, at least 3 pages.
It has panels, yeah.
Right, it has panels. This one is 1 illustration a page. And I did that on one because I could not physically, right at that time in my life, produce a book that had more than 1 image a page. I made the calculation in my brain that I can give the audience 1 image a page. But what that meant was I had to be very careful about how I did my pacing with the story. So just as you were pointing out, okay, there are parts where it's big, but then it gets very personal and intimate.
Yeah.
That was all intentional. I had to know, okay, Tim, here you got a big battle sequence, right?
Yeah.
You know, I won't go in because no spoiler alert.
No spoilers.
Right? But there's like a big battle, several big battle sequences. But you then got to go where it's just, you know, Oba dealing with a person who he's in a relationship with. Or he finally, you know, he actually runs into a girl at one point, a little girl who's being accosted by these racists during the 1960s. And so he brutalizes the racists, right? Those type of things I could spend like a few pages on, but then you have to go back to the larger story. There were points where several important seminal Afrofuturists, who are not like in entertainment, but I consider them Afrofuturists, make appearances in the book. You know, Nichelle Nichols is in the book.
Yeah.
1 page.
Sure.
Barack Obama, who I consider like an Afrofuturist, he was crazy enough to say, you know what? I'm going to run for president. And he won twice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's an Afrofuturist. That's a person of color who can see our bigger picture. But also I wanted to embed the character in seminal, important moments of history, both history that we know in the far past, but history in our recent contemporary period. You know, but then, you know, you have to extrapolate, okay, well, what is the world going to look like 1,000 years from now? What's it going to look like 10,000 years, 1,000,000 years from now? And, you know, I don't know. I just know eventually the world's going to end. That's what we do know.
Yeah.
But I could speculate it's going to end about 2 billion years from now. Right.
Sure. Well, this is where it becomes speculative fiction. This is the Afrofuturist.
Thank you. Part. Thank you. There was no one I could talk with who could tell me all of the science behind it. I did a little research. I said, okay, the sun has maybe 2 billion years left of life in it. The sun. right? The sun is eventually going to stop, generating.
Well, yeah, it's gonna not be a star. I mean, stars don't live forever.
And if it collapses, it's probably going to become a black hole.
Right.
That's probably what's going to happen. You don't know. But then when you take about the scale, you scale that up on a larger level, who knows what will happen to the universe? Is existence just this plane? Is it another plane? Are there planes interconnected? I don't know.
Well, and too, like, I like seeing you speculating on what like the arc of humanity looks like, because you don't know like what we're even like, if humanity isn't self-destruct before the sun, which like it probably will.
What are we going to look like? I don't know.
What are we going to even look like? Yeah, I know.
I don't know. Are we going to be short? Are we going to be tall?
Okay, so I have a question that I have to insert here, because you're talking about like we go back in time, but then we come to now, and then we go forward in time. But there's this one spread in here that I have to ask about, and I should have like.
Come, ladies and gentlemen, she's been waiting for this for a long time.
I've been waiting for this because I have to find out where in the process, like what the timing was when this spread. Oh God, where is it? I gotta find it. There's a part in here where everyone has started wearing basically hazmat suits.
Oh, right.
Post-war viruses.
Yeah.
Dude, so, tell me.
So I finished the book in March of last year. I literally finished this time last year. I had finished, the first thing, I finished the book, the first physical manuscript I had, where everything was painted, all the layouts were done. Yeah,
is this too much of a spoiler? I'm sorry.
No. It's fine. It's fine. It's so fascinating that you would ask that question, because that image has a history behind it. And only Sarah Peltier would pick up on that. So I'm going to give you this, because I don't think I've told anyone. Maybe I told one person.
Ooh, exclusive.
So that image, and make sure you hold that up again in a second there.
Okay. Let me find it while you're talking.
I delivered my first manuscript in November of 2019, right?
Yeah.
And I thought I was good for about a month or two, but then they came back with all these edits, which was pretty intense, because this is not like, oh, wow, we need edits done to this book. Oh, okay, I'll just sit up and I'll write.
Right.
Write the changes.
No, the edits were intense.
Well, yeah, but it's like, it's not just writing, you have to create new images.
Right, yeah.
So Infinitum increased probably by almost 30 pages from November of 2019 to March of 2020.
That's a lot of art to add.
Yes, and my arms strangely felt like they were about to fall off, but that's another story, right? So as I did it, I wanted to really, there was the character-based stuff that was necessary. What do you add? First person or second person narrative or third person narrative? How do you make that work? And we got through that part. That was tough, but we got through it. But then as I would add visuals about things, because there were some legitimate questions that came up in the editing process. Well, okay, he has this curse. Doesn't he try to get rid of the curse? I'm like, of course he does. So, okay, how can I more explicitly show that? So you put in 2 pages, one at the beginning and one towards the middle, inish, not the end, but the middle, showing what he does, and I won't give, because it gets pretty extreme, as you well know.
Yeah.
But that particular image, I did that image I did 7 years ago.
This one right here?
That image is older than any other image in the book.
That's crazy.
I'm going to explain to you why. When I did that image, at that time, I was in discussion with Samuel R. Delaney, and I was trying to adapt Nova. And this was one of the images that I gave to him.
Wow. Yes.
And Chip said to me when I sent it, he said, it's a nice image. He said, but the problem with it is that this is a Blade Runner-esque technology level image. And Nova is set at a point in the future where the technology is so advanced that there's no instrumentation.
Mm.
And I went, oh, so I then recalibrated, and I had to go back and do stuff on biomolecular reassignment. You know how, you could have matter, as long as the matter has code in it, it can take any shape or form, but it doesn't need any instrumentation. You can say, okay, I need a cup to drink some coffee. Bloop. It turns into that. Oh, okay, all right, back to work. Bloop. It turns into a mouse. But that's what I'm saying. That's what it's going to be. If we don't destroy each other, that's what it's going to be.
I mean, there's the real question.
No, that's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. Now, so I felt bad because I was like, man, I need another image. I could draw it, but I was looking at the image. Because when you do, and this is for you creators out there, when you're working on a project, what you want to do is embed layers of detail. And some details, the audience, they won't know what it is, but like my interviewer here did, she could detect something was going on. She said the full body prophylactic to keep them from the virus, that was added in, right? But then there's this other undercurrent that you don't know, that image was produced for an aborted adaptation of Nova, one of the seminal Afrofuturist novels that, changed everything. I wouldn't be doing what I do now without that. So thank you for asking that question, by the way.
I'm so glad I asked that question.
Yeah.
I never in a million years would have guessed that was produced 7 years ago.
That was produced 7 years ago. That was produced back in what, 2013 maybe? 2013. Yeah, 2013, definitely not before 2014. I think it was 2013. I was trying to adapt Nova then. Yes.
Wow.
Which maybe one day. We'll see.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this is great. I mean, I have other, okay, so we should probably wind down soon, but I also want to ask about names, because I will say, I ended up taking a deep dive into the Google to look at names. So Aja Oba, right? Did I say it right?
Yep.
And his lover, who produces the child that he ends up taking.
Obenrin, yes.
Yeah. So they both have these, I guess they're titles, it seems like. Aja and Obenrin, there's another, what is the other word? Ajay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to ask about those, because it seemed like maybe those are derived from like Yoruba titles or something for king and queen. Or
Aja Oba means dog king.
Dog king, yeah, right.
Yeah. Obenrin is I forget the exact terminology, but it's sorcerer. It's
yeah. So I was like,
that. Right.
I was going down like the rabbit holes on Wikipedia.
Oh, don't stop. Don't go down totally to the bad rabbit.
Why not? It was
no, but it's like, no, it's like there's madness there. Leave that,
Well, okay, except I thought it gave it this extra layer of like power. Because I mean, we're talking like these honorifics that go back a long time, deep into like origin stories from Africa. Yeah.
You're talking about sentimentality. You're talking about, a lot of people say, oh, don't be sentimental. Well, sentimentality is what gives our lives meaning.
Sure.
You name your child for me, that means something to you and your husband, but it means something to the lineage that he comes from.
Right.
Now, I don't know that, but I could just tell, oh, that name is so unique. I won't give his name out because I want to protect my man's identity, because he's going to be world famous one day. But we name our children, we name our projects based upon deeper meaning. We name, that's how good art works. It's called giving your project heart.
Yeah.
And
I think those names do that here.
That's that. Thank you so much. That is the intent of that. girl, you need to keep doing this. You're good at this. You're good at this. Like, Sir Peltier presents. Anyway,
Oh,
but yeah, no. So that's what it is. What you're really doing is you're embedding. I've said this before in interviews, called implied detail. Implied detail is detail that you see on the surface of something. You don't know what it's for, but you can feel that it has meaning. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's what that was. But in this particular case, if a person does go down a rabbit hole, I wanted them to have something to grab onto. In the Marvel universe, they call it Easter eggs.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
you just found 2 eggs. Good job.
I found the 2 eggs and I loved it. I loved it. It made, I really thought that, especially Obinrin's name, like really, the fact that it uses what it uses in the naming of that character, like, whoa. Because one of the things, the fact that she's got this tie, like in the story, but also through her name to like this bigger sort of like origin story of, creation.
Right.
And like life-giving powers was what made it even more powerful. That then like, and okay, I don't want to like spoil everything, but like choices that she makes or reactions that she has early in the story influence like the whole entire rest of it.
Exactly.
And then
I shouldn't
have said that. I shouldn't have said that. We can cut it. We can cut that part.
But see, that's what I'm saying. It's like so much of storytelling, and it's sleight of hand. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like you're moving the cups around and you forget where it is, but in the back of your head, it's in one of these cups.
Yeah.
But you don't know which one and you forget about it. That's part of what drama and pacing in narrative works. It's like, it's why is Lee Child so successful with his Jack Reacher books? It's because he figured out a formula that he can, it's not the real world, it's all made up. That's why some people feel very passionately about Infinitum. I'm happy to say, I didn't pay anybody to do this, but the reviews have been absolutely ridiculous in terms of they're great reviews.
Yeah.
And let me knock on some wood. Don't want to jinx it, but it seems like the book is just, it's been, some things I can't even talk about, but you could just look at it and see, okay, this is eventually going to get turned into a movie. Or
very cinematic,
or I mean, that's not something that's just as sure, certainly, as we're sitting here talking. I mean, I'm not breaking any kind of rule to say that will happen. The only thing I can't tell you is when and by whom. Sure. That I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's gonna happen. I also know that the book, I have my dreams. I have my hopes of what I would like and what I hope happens. But, Sarah, this book has done more than I could have dreamed. It has done more than I could have dreamed. I am, I'm not, I'd say this, I'm not young anymore. I'm not old. I mean, I'm old, but I'm not old.
Sure. So
I'm like middle-aged solidly. And for this to have happened in my life at this point, has just one of the greatest pleasures, and just it's been incredible. And it's not over. I thought, well, things are slowing down a little bit. Yeah, I guess I can kick back. Oh man, hey Tim, you got to do this, and then you got to do that. And it has been such a ride. I don't know what the book's gonna do. I don't even know if the book is sold. I don't know.
You won't know for another few months.
Yeah, I don't know. But it seems like people kind of like, hey, Tim, look what I got in the mail. I'm like, wow, great. Or when it's wow, hey, man, look what I got in the mail. I'm like, who is that person? I don't know who they are, but they're like taking a picture of it for night. I'm like, wow. So that's when or when I taught a class at, didn't teach, I lecture, like what I'm doing here, but I did it at Union College with one of my colleagues. Robin reading, they had the book. You know, it's
Like,
it's like magic.
woohoo!
So it has been a tremendous experience, and what can I tell you? I'm so grateful to just be doing this, and I'm ready to. The next book, by the way, guess what I'm going to do?
What? Tell.
That's the next book.
What? Yay!
Yes, Matty's Rocket is going to be a trilogy.
Woohoo! I mean,
Other than we're still working out specifics, but that's the next book I'm working on.
That's great. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see then what comes forth, the next great project.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
All right,
everybody.
Now, here's the thing. Oh. I'm supposed to draw you, right?
Oh, are you drawing me?
I don't know. I didn't start because we were having a deep conversation. Should I do it or what? What do you want me to do?
That's up to you. That's up to you.
Okay, I'm going to draw. So I've drawn Sarah before, but this time I'm going to draw Sarah. Give me 3 minutes to draw you. Can I draw you? 3 minutes?
You can draw me in 3 minutes.
I can draw you in 3 minutes because I know we got to end. Here we go.
The clock is ticking.
Okay, the clock is old. No, she's putting that pressure on me, ladies and gentlemen.
So in the meantime, everybody, thank you for watching. And here, Infinitum, go get it. Find it in bookstores. Find it at the library. I don't know, Tim, where else? Bookstores, libraries?
You know, that's a very interesting question you could ask. Do you know you can find Infinitum on Walmart?
Walmart?
You can find Infinitum. You can order it from Walmart. You can order it from Target.
So you can order it from anywhere.
Anywhere, which is absolutely insane. And I love that.
So go get it, guys. Get your hands on a copy. It is great. Good reading. Good looking, I should say, too, because
it is such an amazing opportunity to draw you and to get this done. I got about 2 minutes left.
This is the awkward moment where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so camera shy.
But I've drawn you before.
So now I'm both on camera and I'm being drawn at the same time. And then it will end up on the AADL website for all the world to see forever.
Well, I mean, I don't have anything to do with that part. I'm just
until humanity self-destructs. So, you know.
Yeah. So for background, folks, I drew Sara at Nicholas Books a few years ago.
This was back when Tim came and joined us to do event. He gave talks. He talked about Matty's Rocket. He talked about Afrofuturism. He went to some universities in the area.
That's right. And I drew you.
And he drew me.
And
and I was just as camera shy then as I am now.
Yeah, but you were a pretty good subject. Don't say it like that. You were great. No, you were. You were.
Because Tim, you are our focus here. I am not the focus.
But you know, the people have been talking about me a lot lately, so we're good. We're good. All right, now I'm gonna do one more thing here because the way I drew your picture before was cool, and I want to add a little bit more stank on this one. Then you will be done.
Just a quick sketch, right?
Just you're doing good. Relax, sir. She's getting nervous already. The pressure on me.
I can't handle this.
Hang on, I'm almost there. You're gonna.
Well, and the last time you drew my picture, I had a lot of hair. I had a big old bun on top of my head. I've since chopped it all off during COVID.
Right, and COVID has been interesting. I don't think virtual touring is going anywhere. I think people are going to be anxious to get outside for sure.
Yeah.
But I think this is not going anywhere. I think this is going to be with us for some time. And there we go. I know she's like, why did you hurry up? It's happening. Relax. Relax. It's going good. It's going good. It's going to be awesome. And there we go. All right. Now, we got to get the hair. Got to get the hair. Oh, yeah, that's going to be hot. Take that down. Now, before, when I send this to you to post on the web, I'll post the old image I did and I'll do the updated
the new one.
You ready?
I'm ready. As ready as I'll ever be. There I am. I love it.
All right. So that is, let me do my screen capture away from the camera. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I do that right? Oh, sorry.
I don't know.
Here we go. Okay, good. So I'm gonna send that to you, and we'll post it up and tag everybody on the day of. How about that?
That sounds great.
Good. Sarah, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tim. It's been a pleasure.